What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the house. Probably my most asked question lately: should you be buying the 2021 Megatins? And the answer is very complicated and widespread. I am not a financial advisor channel. Your bankroll could be different. What you're after out of these could be different. So don't take this advice directly towards you, but I'm going to give as many scenarios as possible to cover all grounds, from best case scenario on pulls of the Megatins to worst, because looking at this product description, I have a lot of questions, just as you might have, and we'll go over the speculations of what could happen, what could not happen, and why I think certain people should be buying them right now and other people should be avoiding. And let's start with the first avoidance. If you're after just a couple of singles within these tins, just go buy the singles. Don't start spending hundreds of dollars just because you want to do what everybody else is doing and you're like, well, I could use a little bit of trade bait. No, just go buy the singles and don't do that. I'm incentivized to tell you to use my promo codes What's Good 5, support the channel, get a percentage of that sale, and I'm telling you, hold back, wait for it, and go and get those, because this is one of the most competitive flagship products Konami will print and will be ripped open entirely for those singles. Also, you don't know what they might pull out at this point. That's the scary part, isn't it? Usually they throw the kitchen sink at this set, but Ghosts from the Past turned out very different than everybody thought it would this year, without even one money chase reprint, and instead pieced up structure decks along with those chased ghost rares. But I don't think that's the case for the Megatins. I think they've held back a lot for them, but there could be future products as well that this could job to a little, and we'll get into that. Now, the four sets inside that we do know are Ignition Assault, Eternity Code, Rise of the Duelist, Phantom Rage, and that little annoying piece at the end, and more. This could end up being filler. Like, we don't know if they're gonna go back and redo something as crazy as Mystic Fighters. The generator engine would be permanently bottomed out. They've already gotten to Dragon Maids, but there's some cards that are expensive. They could go that far back. Or it could be the Eldritch engine, which would make for great penny stonks long term. We don't know what that and more is or is going to entail, so it's really hard to tell what filler will get injected, but assume that some filler will get injected. Now, the price point is going up right now, which is probably why people are freaking out and asking me. TierZero is one of those international sellers. You can use code What's Good 5 for 5% off of their sales and also support the channel, but it's gone up to almost retail per case. You're only getting like one and point something 10 for free, but as I understand it, Australia super welcomes stuff like this, as their distros are juicing even at the distro level, and it's a crazy situation over there. So having international clientele, they get a lot more foot traffic. They have to up that price to keep a stock, especially versus potential allocation of tens. That means tens could get pulled back and what they thought they were gonna get, and they want to make sure they can fulfill sells and also do singles later. Now, I have picked up a new sponsor, Big 3 Deals. You can use code What's Good 5 for 5% off this price, and if this video's up and you're early, it should be there. Depending on when you get to the video, prices may be different for your consideration. They have it at $180 right now. So does Yu-Gi-Oh! Black Market. You can use my promo code there and support the channel. What's Good 5 for 5% off. And then finally, Gamer's Choice, the cheapest price right now at $170. They limit it to 10 per customer though, so if you're trying to go in super heavy past this, you're going Mad Lad status, and you're probably wondering a lot of things like I am on how this set is going to turn out. So let's talk about why this number is so important by getting into the singles that could be in the set. Lightning Storm is a staple that people want 3 ofs, and it's gone in and out of format, so to call it a staple right now is not necessarily true, but the Eldritch engine pushed it back in, then it finds its way back into side decks, it floats back and forth, but people want 3 of these as a chase card. But look at the rest of the set. After reprints, it's going to fall into a lot of mid-range, while Ignister Island's going to get more hype from that upcoming Link 1 Searcher Fourth, and the Rose getting probably a rarity upgrade would be very nice in the 10s. There's not a whole lot of value in here, and they do tend to actually skip TCG exclusive sets, or archetypes, I should say, within the 10s. So like Whitebeard and the Redbeard could, and all the Plunder Patrol could end up missing from the 10s, like Spirals, if we look at the history of the 10s. So the rest of the stuff in here, I guess we could get a secret rare cross sheep, yay. Then you go to Eternity Code, a set that was shorted when it came out and had wonky distribution between two different releases in the EU and USA due to world situations. Access code Talker being top, and let's say it ends up like Borreload Savage Dragon from the Megatins, $13.5. Well, that's not that good. It's $20 a 10 MSRP. That is great for you if you're going in on 10s to see cards like this. And these 10s, should they see a ton of the reprints, which is very likely, will have a ton of cards to offer in the 15 plus range, which is insane to say. So let's say access code, though, falls around 13.5. Why is that very significant? Well, if you're getting the 10s with my discount code from Gamer's Choice, you're paying $161.5-ish, and you divide that by 12 10s for an entire case, that's 13.45 per 10. That one access code talker pull can end up being the price of a single 10. But how many access code talkers are you going to be pulling? That's the question. It's not just access code talker we're after Lightning Storm, Triple Tactics Talent, Forbidden Droplet, and hoping they're all going to be in here, because let's break down last year's actual pull ratios. A case of Megatins is 12 total 10s if you still haven't gotten that point by now. Last year's 10s had 27 secrets, and you pull 36 per case, meaning you are pulling 1.33 repeating of each secret rare. And you're going to see none of those in some cases. You're going to get lucky and see 2 of those in some cases, and you're still rolling the dice on sealed product. These ratios are not guaranteed pulls. Then we saw 50 Ultras really crammed into the set to make Dragoon harder to pull. People still think Dragoon is short print and quote that, yet it is the ratios that shorted Dragoon. Dragoon is not short printed. You pull about 1.44 of each Ultra per case, because you're seeing 6 Ultras per 10, meaning 72 per case over the total 50 Ultras. So you see 1.44 Dragoon per case. You saw people with 0 Dragoons, people with 2 Dragoons going yay, and then also people with 3 of them just mad lad high roller status. And then there were 37 super rares, 6 per 10, 72 per case. That means you were pulling 1.95 of each super rare, and the super rares typically are not the most pricey things out of the Megatins. We're looking for the Ultra and secret pulls and maybe something else. We'll get to that later. But within here, in the realistic case scenario, I do think most of the cards will end up in here, and looking at last year's model, they would reprint things in other sets like Gold Series if they're going to go in that way. I think Chamber Dragon Maid will fall down in price within the 10s, and the secret might hold some value as the top mid-range rarity behind the Starlight rare, but a lower rarity of her also makes me scared of why they would go back to Mystic Fighters and reprint Dragon Maid stuff. And a Bador Archosaur should actually hold up better than her, though, in price within the 10s, I would think, because there's so many people with dinosaurs with the structure decks, which cause buyouts, as you know, and with so many people awaiting a reprint for this, a lot of people will go in on it, and tons of great mid-range value from Gearsu, Gravedigger Trap, Hole, Machina Metal Cruncher, Madolche Salon, possibly getting upgrades depending on the slots. There's so much good going in Eternity Code, and then it gets even better with Rise of the Duels. Forbidden Droplet, Triple Tactic Talent, Nadir Servant, and a whole archetype that's wanted. Ice Dragon Prison potentially getting that secret rare upgrade, same with Shadol Schism. You have Chaos Ruler, the Chaotic Magical Dragon, and then Odd Eyes Revolution Dragon being pricey right now as well, and a ton of great mid-range that will become future penny stonks. But then we get to the last set, Phantom Rage, top heavy again with Zeus, and a couple of good mid-range cards between Alpha and Tornscale and the Tri-Brigade engine, and then it just really falls out. Virtual World, maybe it'll make a comeback someday, but it is just not looking good. So you already have filler hugely between Ignition Assault and this, and potentially more within that and more, or it could be really good things. Next up, we want to look at how the 2020 10s and 2019 10s price history went, but also give the scenarios. Red Eyes Dark Dragoon was planted in the 10s to give a chase card, and that's why it's done so well. You take away Dragoon, and this product would still be struggling and suffering due to the no promo activity of these 10s. Promos give a guaranteed value back each year, but this was the first 10s to go away from promos, and we have no promos in the set description of these tins. So I'm thinking they will mimic the strategy that they use, but that is not a definite case scenario. So you don't want to rely on that. You more so want to rely on potential reprints and how many chases. We see here that there are only 3 chases because Apollosa got reprinted in another set, draining its value, and we already knew it would be reprinted in that other set, yet that did not hold true for Extravagance, which people want play sets of, which was reprinted in Toon Chaos ahead of time and still went up. So you can still have chase cards that get reprinted elsewhere depending on how they are reprinted. Keep that in mind. Next up, the 2019 tins also sealed are near triple MSRP where last year's are double, and they had amazing promos, and the cards inside aren't worth that all much, meaning it transcended the actual demand for the product versus what you can be pulling out of it now, to where it's just more of a memorable set, and that liked in terms of history to be worth way more than what you can be pulling out. Right now though, Dragoon is worth double what people are trying to sell those tins for, and you have another chase card near what the pulls are that's still people really gambling and going in, and that's what you want to see if you are sitting on these sealed. You're hoping that it has some kind of long-term worth, but I do think other sets will eat from this potentially that are not yet confirmed. I think we'll get a Maximum Gold 2 probably, and they already have laid within the Prismatic Art Collection a set in the OCG, stuff like Masquerena here, where alter arts were the theme of Maximum Gold, and we have more alternate arts coming that they can base the set around. We could even see fully missed reprints to help Maximum Gold, or Konami could just go with reprinting the cards like they did last year. Also, Animation Chronicle was announced, which is in the slot of Battles of Legend. We could get this as Animation Chronicles, as Battles of Legend. We don't know how Konami's going to handle this set, but last year's Battles of Legend did not have a lot of chase cards, and they may want to lead with the new name Animation Chronicle and make the set very strong. These are 2 things to consider on why the Megatins could end up not as powerful as you would like, mayhaps with all tantalizing cards in front of you from these sets. They may not all end up there, but they're likely to have most of them end up there if we look at 10 history. Then best case scenarios, we could have an Uber chase card planted in here, but I don't like that conversation because Crossout Designated could appear anywhere. It could be, say, in King's Court by the set description. It could be in the Megatins to be like Dragoon and mimic the Dragoon effect. We don't know Konami's plan for this card, so it's bad, I think, to speculate on them repeating the model using this card, but it is a best case scenario. Some other best case scenarios I have over here are, besides a chase import card similar to Dragoon like this, a new rarity could appear within the tins and end up having something, or a chase rarity is dropped inside. I think if that happens, you're going to see it in one of every 3 cases of tins, and here's the math breakdown on that. Each tin is $20 MSRP. You multiply that by 12, you get $240, and you multiply that by 3, you get a magic number of $720. So 3 cases is $720. Well, a case of regular product at $60 a box is also $720. So if they're offering a chase card, it's likely to be at minimum in one of every 3 cases of Megatins if it is a new rarity or that kind of debut, and could even be in 1 out of every 6 Megatin cases, because that would equal Starlight pull rates for the prices being spent. So do keep in mind reality of Konami printing nice things like that. And then finally, worst case scenario would be multiple chases missing for other products like I've been mentioning, which we do see that Droplet is reprinted Ultimate Rare and OTS Tournament Pack 16. This is the official Konami EU site. I don't know why this is so blurry, but this is a real post by Konami that we are getting a Droplet reprint as an upgrade. But let's say even 1 chase is missing. With how many chases are in the tins, that won't affect the estimated value pulled versus what people will be going in on playset after playset of, boosting prices of singles, even with the competition. But there will be a ton of this open. There will be a lot of competition. That's why I suggest going with the singles and getting your playset instead of hunting and hoping to get 2 out of 1 case. The next case you pulled 0. Why did you do this? Oh, I guess I'll bother to trade for them. Just buy the singles if you're in it for a few cards. If you're in it for the long game and you're sitting on it sealed, you should know there's a lot of different paths this gamble can take. And I personally don't think that is the worst one, considering the last 2 years of history and the set inside and the price point you can get in now, but it depends on your bankroll, how long you can sit on something versus your estimated value of, well, what could I have done with that money in the meantime? Could I have used it at locals and flipped it several times and not, wow, I worked and I already had the money versus I've sit on these 10s and they barely moved in price to where I'll get my fees back now for having sat on them. You really want to consider how hypebeast this could be. And then also the EU got an unlimited printing of those gold Sark Megatins, which gave a little bit of coolant to that market, but then it really outweighed it. We could get a mass reprint of the Megatins in both regions at some point. Consider that could be a possibility as well. And first eds don't necessarily mean the most in Megatin history. That's the entire breakdown. Weigh the risk versus the reward, but I do think there are huge rewards to be waged right now, depending on the price you're getting in and how you are approaching the set. Are you sitting on it sealed? Are you breaking it open because you need a ton of these cards in it? Those are decent gambles, but if you are deciding that you just want a couple of things, absolutely do not be buying cases, even with my promo code to support the channel, unless you're just a pack addict and you love opening things. Let's be honest, that's why some of you all do it. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed this more in-depth conversation. I'm actually sweating. I got so worked up on this one. I wrote a script to the side. Let me know how you enjoyed this video and breakdown. I'm probably going to upload it at kind of an odd hour too here, but I'm just pretty passionate about this one and the math breakdown and the considerations. There's so many different chase pulls potentially inside, but you are still gambling A, that Konami is going to get there, B, that they do hold up versus their reprints when those do have. That reprint was so good, let's do it again. How much does Konami do that? A freaking lot. And then C, how are you approaching it? Are you planning to keep it sealed? Do you think it will be a rockstar home run sealed? Or are you planning to bust open, get in that competition? That's a really harsh competition for the singles. Or if you need a ton of cards from here, it starts to get a little more understandable versus that pull if you are getting in at great prices early. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed the conversation. And again, these are the sites that currently have in stock at really good prices, and you support the channel using my promo code on them.